Welcome to HDTV. You now rocking with your boy. Now, in the news, from the dailymail.com, a Salt Lake City cop is suspended after setting his canine dog. Hold on. I got all these pop-ups, excuse me. Okay. Did that close? Okay. Basically, a Salt Lake City cop is suspended after setting his canine dog on a train engineer in racially motivated attack that may cost the victim his leg. Salt Lake City police officer Nicholas Pierce was suspended on Wednesday pending an investigation into an April 24th incident captured on body cam. Officers told Jeffrey Ryans, 36, to get on the ground or you're going to get bit. Ryans was in his own backyard preparing to go to work when the cops arrived. Despite complying with their order, officers instructed a police dog to attack. Officers praised the good boy while Ryans rolls onto his front in agony. Police say they went to arrest Ryans because he was violating a protective order filed by his wife that meant he was not supposed to be in the home. Ryans claims his wife told him that the protective order had been lifted and says he had been back in his home for weeks. However, that process was still pending. He filed his intent to sue police on July 20th, and lawyers claimed he was treated with unnecessary force because he's black. Police said they didn't hear about the incident until Tuesday, and now they have also suspended K9 work pending a review of policy. Nicholas Pierce K9 Unit won Unit of the Year in 2011. However, just 9 days earlier, Pierce was involved in a use of deadly force incident. So basically, the Salt Lake City police officer Nicholas Pierce, he was suspended pending the investigation because of the outrage over the video where he's heard encouraging a canine to attack a black man who was on his knees with his hands in the air. The use of canines has also been suspended by Salt Lake City police due to the April 24th incident where cops scrambled to the home of Jeffrey Ryans, 36 years old, and set the dog on him, resulting in injuries so severe that his leg may be amputated. Ryans filed his intent to sue on July 20th, but police only began investigating the incident on Tuesday when an interview with Ryans detailed his inspiration to speak out following the recent wave of Black Lives Matter protests. More than a week after the mayor filed an executive order to reform police policy requiring them to report use of force even if it doesn't result in injury, police said the first they've heard about the incident was on Tuesday. They then took swift action. At this time, we have placed an officer on administrative leave pending the results of these investigations. Police said in a statement on Wednesday, SLCPD has also launched a thorough review process of the canine apprehension program by external subject matter experts. In the meantime, SLCPD has suspended this canine function until we review policies, procedures, training, and actual application in the field. So, they're basically showing pictures of what happened, and it's basically not looking good. Yeah, some bad pictures. Now, the body camera footage showed the moments after a call was made when someone heard Ryans arguing with his wife, who had previously filed a protective order against him for domestic violence. Ryan says he had been back in the home for several weeks and was smoking outside before he was due to leave for his job as a train engineer. The Alabama native, who has lived in Utah for 15 years, claims police in the city treat black people differently, and as he prepares to sue the department, his lawyer says he was attacked in a such forceful way because he's black. I felt like a chew toy, Ryan's told the Salt Lake Tribune. I didn't know why this was happening to me. That's what was going through my mind. Why? What's different between the two of us that could make this happen to him, but I couldn't imagine happening to me. No one's ever shown up at my house, attorney Gabrielle White told the Salt Lake Tribune. They shared the police body camera footage amid racial injustice discussions following the killing of George Floyd that happened a month later. He said he wanted to tell his story during a time when people have been supporting the Black Lives Matter movement and demonstrating against police brutality. People need to know Black Lives Matter. Everybody matters, but can't just excuse me, but you can't just treat people differently because of their religion or their skin color. Ryan said, I developed myself to get to where I'm at right now. I should have the same respect as others. We don't get it. It was only this week that cops has been suspended. Nicholas Pierce, K9's Unit 1 Unit of the Year in 2011 for his outstanding work. However, just 9 days earlier, Pierce was involved in the use of a deadly force incident where another officer shot a minor driving a stolen car several times. The minor survived the injuries sustained after Pierce said over radio that he had been the victim of aggravated assault on a peace officer because the juvenile's vehicle rammed his patrol car. The other officer who fired 8 shots at the minor's car was found to have used deadly force unnecessarily. And they're showing from the body cam all the stuff, the injuries. In the clip, police asked his wife, is he not supposed to be here because he got a protective order? She responds that he was there when she got home, dressed in a white top with dark trousers. Officers startled Ryans as they beamed their torches and screamed, get on the ground or you're going to get bit. A dog barks ferociously as Ryan raises his hand in the air and responds calmly, I'm just going to work. Officers rush into Ryan's backyard as one claims that he is trying to jump the fence. They repeatedly ordered him to get on the ground and threatened that the dog will bite him if he doesn't. Despite Ryan's kneeling on the floor with his hands raised, officers ordered the dog, Tuco, to launch its attack. They repeatedly instruct the canine to hit, and Tuco rushes forward to maul Ryan's leg. I'm on the ground. Why are you biting me? He pleads, begging the officers to stop. Despite this, the officer appears to order the dog to continue its attack. Tuco is seen clamping its jaws around Ryan's leg as he screams in pain. Officer prays the good boy while Ryan rolls onto his front in agony. He yells, why are you doing this? And begs, what did I do? Officer proceeds to cuff Ryan while he is laying police down as Tuco remains latched to his leg. I was just getting my clothes to go to work, he says. After Tuco retreats from his attack, an officer pats the dog on his side and tells it, good boy. Once officer radios through for a medic for a dog bite to the leg, he then says to Ryan, bro, you're listening great now. You weren't listening great a minute ago. And then they're basically showing pictures of Ryan said that the devastating injuries he suffered to his leg led to multiple surgeries, a lost job, and means he can't play as much sport with his children. He told the Salt Lake Tribune, I wasn't fighting. I was just cooperating. We've been through this. We've seen this. Always cooperate with the police no matter what. Ryan has since taken the first steps to filing a lawsuit against the Salt Lake City Police Department. In a notice of a claim on July 20th, his attorneys say Ryan suffered nerve and tendon damage as well as infection and still has difficulty walking. They say doctors have not ruled out the possibility that his leg will need to be amputated. The city has 60 days to respond to the notice, otherwise Ryans will sue. Ryan's attorneys Daniel Gardner and Gabrielle White alleged the officers used an unnecessary level of force. White alleges that officers reacted the way they did because Ryan is black. Police say they went to arrest Ryan because he was violating a protective order filed by his wife that meant he was not supposed to be in the home. It is not clear who called police to Ryan's home, but the man said it was not his wife. Court records show he is facing charges of domestic violence for an incident that occurred around the time of December, but Ryan claims his wife told him that the protective order had been lifted. However, it was still pending. He said he had been back in their home weeks prior to the police call, and that didn't know her request to have the order lifted was still pending. Ryans is now facing a charge of violating that protective order, though court dates have yet to be set. And the mayor of Salt Lake City, which is Mayor Erin Mendenhall, she said, "We will conduct a thorough review of the breakdown in communication to ensure that it does not happen again. I am disturbed by what I saw in that video, frustrated by how the situation was handled, and am committed to working to ensure neither happens again. Furthermore, I am deeply concerned that it took a news outlet publishing this video for it to be brought to the attention of senior police department leadership and myself." The Salt Lake City Police Department responded to the Salt Lake Tribune's reporting on Tuesday. They said, as there is pending litigation, we are unable to discuss specifics of the case. Although this incident occurred in April, there was never an internal affairs complaint filed. When we became aware of the situation this morning, an internal affairs investigation was immediately launched by our department to determine if the use of force was within policy. That investigation will consider the totality of the events that occurred that night. As with every complaint regarding use of force, the Salt Lake City Civilian Review Board has the opportunity to conduct their own separate investigation. Locals said they plan on protesting this forthcoming Sunday regarding Ryan's case. Mayor Erin Mendenhall also pushed for a probe by Police Chief Mike Brown on Tuesday evening. Then on Wednesday afternoon, she added, "I am deeply concerned that it took a news outlet publishing this video to be brought to the attention." Okay, she already said that. Okay, "We will conduct a thorough review of the breakdown communication to ensure that does not happen again." And she basically was disturbed of what happened. So let's see. Okay, 300.2.1 duty to intercede. Duty to intercede has been in a Salt Lake City Police Department policy, but the proposed change further clarifies officers and supervisors' responsibilities. Previously, officers were expected to intercede when they observed a fellow officer using inappropriate force. Now, officers will be expected to intercede when they reasonably believe that an officer is about to use force or other action that is illegal, excessive, or inconsistent with policy. The officer will be expected to do whatever he or she can to stop the flow of events to prevent or cease the use of force. The police will specify that if a supervisor observes a violation or impending violation, he or she must issue a direct order to stop the violation. Finally, the new policy will incorporate an anti-retaliation provision for officers who intercede, report a violation, or cooperate in investigation. 300.3.1 Use of force to effect an arrest. Unless unreasonable, de-escalation tactics will be mandatory prior to using force to effect an arrest. Officers shall employ effective communication techniques, attempt to establish rapport, use appropriate voice intonation, ask questions, and provide advice to reduce conflict, and engage in other techniques to achieve voluntary compliance. In an executive order signed August 3rd following protests against police brutality and racist injustice, police were given until September to implement new policy, which states that if an officer sees what they think is illegal use of force, they must intercede. 300.10 Investigating uses of force. This policy will now require that two levels of supervisors review every use of force, not just those uses of force that result in injury. Tactics preceding use of force. The policy manual require officers to not engage in aggressive behavior that escalates the situation. It will include a new section stating that officers shall not contribute to a situation in a manner that could lead to a use of force by taking unnecessary, overly aggressive action. Evaluations of an officer's use of force will take into account whether an officer used these tactics. Two levels of supervisors must review a use of force incident, and cops are required to do all they can do to de-escalate before using force. The mayor signed an executive order on August 3rd that made certain use of practices in the department a part of official policy. SLCPD officers will now be required to use de-escalation techniques before using force. De-escalation tactics are no longer suggested or preferred. They are mandatory prior to using force to effect an arrest unless it would be unreasonable to do so. One of 7 actions reads: officers will employ effective communication techniques in an attempt to achieve voluntary compliance. Officers will be expected to not contribute to a situation that could lead to the use of force by taking unnecessarily overly aggressive actions. 2 levels of supervisors are required to investigate any use of force, not just those that result in injury. Officers witnessing the use of force they believe to be illegal must intercede. The police chief must put the new policy into action by no later than September 5th. Okay. Trying to make sure that was the whole article. Okay, yeah, that was all of it. So basically, from reading this story, the person at fault was the husband. And then the police, they stupid behind, all they had to do was just arrest them or just, de-escalate it by talking to him, bringing him over here, talking to him, waiting for the wife to get home. Once the wife got home, then they go from there. This could have been de-escalated, and this is the problem I have with the police. And this is why police officers need to be retrained. You don't need to disband the police. I have family members who are police officers. They would have never allowed it to get to that level. If you know that this guy has something pending, he has his hands up, he's on the ground, doesn't mean he may not be laying down, he's on his knees, hands up. You don't send a dog over there to attack him. Now you're facing even more problems because now he has the right to sue. Yeah, he may be in trouble because he was going against the protective order that was placed against him to keep him within a certain feet away from his wife, a protective order. But he's saying the wife claimed to him that it was lifted. Brothers, do not believe your damn woman. You wait until that policy is over. You go check yourself. This was his dumb behind fault. He should have waited and checked to see if the order was lifted. If the order was lifted, then I'm going over there. Until then, no, sir, you are black. And you're already looking suspicious going over there. So, but the cops, they messed everything up. Because for you to come over there, you are dumb behind, put yourselves in a bad situation. Now, when future events happen, nobody's going to believe you if anything happens. Then you shot at a minor the other day. He rammed into your car, but it was a minor. You shot him 8 damn times. It's like, okay, did he have a weapon to hurt you? These police officers do not know how to handle situations. They pick and choose who they want to take care of. Now, if this was a white man and he was able to say all this stuff, he wouldn't have been shot. They would have actually, he wouldn't have had a dog sicked on him. They would have actually talked to him. They actually would have walked him to the car and took him away. They would have asked him questions first. These are basic people skills. This should not have. ever happen. This is dumb. This should have never happened. And the brother, I respect you, brother man, but you're wrong. You should have stayed away until that protective order said non-pending anymore. That is good. That it went through. But you don't go over there any time before that. That gives them the rights to do what they did to you. But to me, both parties were wrong. The man was wrong for coming there when he still was under the protective order to stay away from his wife. And the police were wrong for letting the dog just be sicked on him, to bite him and everything. And to me, that was vicious. The pictures look ugly. I can't put them on YouTube because they'll demonetize me. So I'm gonna leave that off. I'm just gonna show a picture of the victim. And please let me know in the comments section, who do you think was right or wrong in this situation? Do you think the police were right to handle it the way they did? Do you think the brother man was correct in how he handled it? Or do you think he was wrong? Or do you think the police were wrong? Let me know in the comments section. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video to everyone. Hit that notification bell, and please press select all to be notified of upcoming content. And that's all we have right now. Thank you for listening. Live Boy.